Okay. Are we ready? All right. Public hearing regarding waiver for the 26-27 school year start date. Waiver of the requirements of Wisconsin Statute 118.045 in the administrative rules promulgated by the department to gather feedback regarding the school term to be altered with an earlier start date for the entire district. You want to?
So a little background information. When we got kind of rolling into the school year this year, and I met with our staff and started to gather information from them, I sensed that there were thoughts about how we could do our academic calendar a little bit different. So we put together a committee and we surveyed all of the staff, and we surveyed 200, do you guys remember 260?
It was 274.
Okay, 274 families or unique email addresses to weigh in on the calendar a little bit too. And there were a series of questions asked of them. And what started to come from that was a determination that a calendar committee could maybe come up with a calendar that fit the modern trends that are happening in our community. And so there were about 20 that came to that committee meeting. And we did that in 2 stages. We talked through the process. We talked through all of the reasons that it made sense for us to alter our schedule a little bit. They went their separate ways. Krista and Jordan led kind of a informal high school conversation one day at lunch, or several days at lunch, I think, to come up with a plan that they set forward. We had 4, I always say we had 4.5 options that came to the table that night. We had 4 that were fleshed out, and we had another one that was in concept only. The team sat and went through all of those and ended up that the recommendation, the early start recommendation that came from the high school team and the early start recommendation that came from the elementary team were almost identical. And then they kind of worked back through that, and the process that we came up with, or where we landed, was with what the high school is recommending that we do. So I'll have those guys talk about kind of what their thoughts were and what it felt like to be in that process.
Yeah, first of all, I mean, thank you to Dr. Hill for putting this whole thing together, because it felt very transparent and really like a good use of everybody's time to sit down. It was pretty focused, and we brought a lot of different people to the table within the district, elementary school, middle school, high school, Montessori, people with lots of different backgrounds and who do lots of different things. We had coaches, we had parents and not parents. So I thought it was like a really good diverse group of people we got together with many different perspectives on the calendar. So, but even though we all had different like points of view and stuff, the conversations went really well. And I felt like it went pretty good. Do you want to talk a little bit about
Yeah,
the
so
surveys?
one of the things that we were tasked with after the first meeting, we went through the survey results together at that first meeting, and we picked out themes, and there was a lot of similarities between the staff survey and the parent survey, like a shocking number of the questions that we answered really strongly one way or another, parents also did. So those things were very similar. The few things that we picked out to focus on when we put together our calendars, the longer day / shorter year was very popular. So in the parent survey, and I did this before the form got officially closed. So I think there was like 3 or 4 more entries that got added, but this is most of them. The parent survey was 73% in favor of doing that, with 27 against. And then the staff survey was 98.6% in favor of doing that, with 1.4 opposed. Another thing that was really common was that idea of starting in August was pretty popular. With the parents, that was 63.5% in favor, and with the staff, it was 87% in favor to start that week early in August. So that was something we wanted to work in because it was popular in both. A spring break was another thing. There wasn't a spring break question in the staff survey. There was a spring break question in the parent survey, and it was very favorable. Parents seemed very interested. Although it didn't show up in the staff survey questions, there was a comment section and it was pretty popular in the comments for the staff. So that was another repeating trend. And then the other one was graduation / the end of the school year. So there was a question about putting graduation at the end of the school year versus strictly Memorial Day. Parents were 60% in favor of that. Staff was 69% in favor of that. So another similar response there. Some of the questions also were like about Christmas break and Thanksgiving break and some other things. And people seemed rather ambivalent about those, so we didn't focus on those. We only focused on the items that had strong responses in both. And then in the comments section, I went through and tallied all the comments, like what they were related to. So the most common parent comments, the first one was an overwhelming sense of thank you for asking us these questions and being open to change in the calendar. People were really grateful. There was almost 30 comments just saying that. And then the second most popular comment on the parents' survey was about being done in May. So they were really pushing, many parents made comments about finishing up the school year by the end of May, not necessarily Memorial Weekend when that falls early, but just not really pushing into June like we oftentimes do. And then on the staff survey, there was comments about spring break, because we didn't have a question for it, and then some frustration with parent-teacher conferences. And the parent comment that showed the most common themes of frustration was with our early dismissals for in-service. There was a number of parents that commented that really was hard for them to work around. And so those were the items that we targeted when we put our calendar together.
Yeah, so a few like highlights from the calendar. I'm just gonna switch off here.
Yeah.
The first one is obviously that early start is probably the biggest change. We actually put together two calendars in case we can't do an early start, but the early start one definitely ended up being the neatest in terms of where things fall and stuff. But that would help us to get out earlier in the spring, which there was a lot of parent support for. So that's probably like one of the biggest changes we have.
Yep. And that start date was August 25th that we had looked at.
Sorry,
Yep.
I should look at my calendar.
25th.
August 25th, yeah.
It's a Tuesday. And then the next thing we did to look and be respectful of that longer days, less days, we added 8 minutes to the school day, which allowed us to drop 3 days off of the student calendar. And actually by adding 8 minutes, it was more than enough. We have more minutes to work with to meet the state requirement than we did with the shorter days at 177.
Let's see, we moved around some of those early dismissal in services to different places or different
To do some places.
different places. Okay. Mostly toward like right before a day off usually is where we put them so that they would just kind of coincide with school being out the next day, just to make that more convenient for parents more than anything else.
Yep, and then we did work to get a spring break in. It does coincide with Easter. It is not separate from the Easter days off. And then in order to fit it, we had to eliminate that idea of Easter Monday being a non-school day. But we were able to fit it in.
And then we are out in May, or at least students are out in May. Staff have, oh yeah, an in-service on the 1st of June there. But otherwise, students are out on the 28th of May on this calendar, so before June starts and just a day before graduation. So it still kind of coincides with that Memorial Day graduation date, so.
Yeah, and then the last thing that we tried to work into the calendar to deal with some of the frustration about conferences is we revamped a little bit of what that would look like. So the district would have conferences all at the same time, and we wanted to make it more accessible for parents to come regardless of a work schedule. So we have a traditional evening of conferences set before an in-service day. And then we would take a chunk of time on the in-service day to offer conferences earlier on for anyone who might work second shift or not be available in the evenings. And so we did that once in the fall and once in the spring, and it would be district-wide all at once instead of the buildings having different dates. And that's pretty much it.
I guess that's more or less all.
So what will happen, my recommendation will be for that August 25th start date and for that May 28th end date. The calendar that the staff put forward is 174 days. We are at 177. In talking to the other schools in our area, other county schools, they range from 175 to 178. I'm going to recommend that using their calendar as a template, that we put May 7th has been an in-service day for them. I'm going to recommend that we put that back in as a student day and we go from 174 to 175. I feel like that is a compromise. In talking to our administrative team, they would prefer us to inch that back the other way. They feel like three less days, even though these guys are going to work extra every day to make up that time so that we're still getting that same amount of instruction in. I think that 175 is where we should land.
What's the contract say?
The contract specifically, right now, the contract doesn't talk about student days. It talks about staff days. Our hourly staff work every student day. And so their hours then are made up that way too, so that we don't have a loss to them. The staff, you gotta think about this. So 11, that will come down because of those extra hours that they're working also.
Extra minutes per day equaling out.
Yep. And my expectation will be that they still get that work done. That's important to them too, to have that more concentrated time to get that. What's interesting, and Chris, you could talk a little bit about what 8 minutes does for you guys. Either of you could talk about what 8 minutes does when you think about your skinnies.
Yeah, so we had said at the high school level, our 3A and 3B classes are each 42 minutes. And it's just a little too short for everyone, like when you think of it from a core class perspective, I go over their homework, I give them a lesson, and then we have, some time to work on the next thing. And the difference, because on our, Mr. Kress, is it early dismissal days that skinnies are long? We have a modified schedule where you get 46 minutes with your skinny instead of 42, and it makes a huge difference actually in your ability to effectively get through a lesson. So like at the high school level, that'd be a great place to put some of the extra time.
Yeah. And we heard in conversation with staff from other buildings, I wasn't sure how elementary school teachers were gonna feel about that going a little bit longer in the day, and I was surprised that they were overwhelmingly positive about it. They said we could use that extra time to actually, have a little time to sit with the kids, maybe debrief on the day, closing circle, like from what it sounded like, they would love a little bit of extra time in their day. So, there was just some support for that from them too.
What does this do with neighboring school districts and our competition for students?
I think it aligns nicely by having a spring break opportunity. But what it doesn't allow is for some of the in-service crossover at the beginning of the year, but talking to the other superintendents, we're thinking a little bit further down the line, and that maybe those collaborative in-service days are better served later in the school year. When we first come back to school, all these guys want to do. I mean, it's important, of course, for them to do training and to do that yearly piece, but they long for time in the classroom just to get in and get settled. I'm mindful of that, and I think that it's important for us to be able to provide that opportunity for them to do that too. So there's some extra flex that is built in, also to help them meet the hours that they need to for their contract.
I know in the past, we've tried to stay away from training before a day off, because people weren't necessarily in the mindset of training. They were maybe planning to go do something or go someplace else. That would be my only concern with that, and I'm sure that can be worked out. But I personally have always wanted us to start school in August, because we already have high school students that are participating in a lot of different events. They've already started meeting and gathering. It could be helpful for transportation. It can be helpful for enthusiasm with younger students about different things that are going on in high school.
And I think the administrative team is mindful that on those, especially those half days leading up to longer weekends, that they won't be training heavy, they will be collaborative work heavy for them. So they would do their conferences Thursday evening, Friday morning, they would do some collaborative work within their building. And then Friday afternoon, they would be able to offer conferences, as Krista said, to families who work different shifts. A great compromise. It was really, I enjoyed just kind of sitting back and watching that team work. Incredibly proud of them.
And it's great to have school end before Memorial Weekend or pretty darn close to it, because people are somewhat checked out after that anyway, students as well as everyone else. It's a long year. It's nice having some breaks throughout the year too, just to rejuvenate and kids, a snow day in February is not a bad thing. Everybody feels a little bit better about it, but it sounds great.
So you'll see an official resolution in your board meeting this afternoon. The plan will be dependent upon the wishes of this board. If you are in favor of that recommendation, we will work with DPI tomorrow. I've already sent the resolution to them in draft form for their feedback to make sure that it meets the requirements, and it does.
I believe you mentioned to me the number of schools that are starting early. It was over 100, I think,
Yes.
within the state. So we are not unusual in that.
Well, and if every family that private schooled in our district, and it's in the 260 range, if they ask for private transportation when they start school on August 25th, we would be required to provide that transportation for them. That is 21% of the student population in the Viroqua area schools. So that's significant. And we should be efficient in how we line those things up. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Great teamwork.
Takes a lot of time.
Oh, yeah. Well, and surveying, gathering the information and finding what's important.
And coloring on calendars.
And what are we missing? Is there something else? Why did we do this for so long? Why are we?
So if the DPI approves the waiver, if you approve the resolution and DPI approves the waiver, we'll pull the calendar committee back together to finalize everything, and we'll share that with families so that they have that right in front of them. And I would also like to share the feedback survey results so families can see how people weighed in as well.
Do you
I
know how
think
long it was?
that'll be interesting, I think, for some folks who are more traditionalists to understand that things have changed. Their grandparents, myself maybe, it's been a few years since.
Sure.
But we have over the years, we have less student contact days than what we had 20 years ago.
Yep.
And then, of course, the extra minutes. And that was something that I remember a few years back where students said, well, why not add a few extra minutes to the day instead of adding another day of school? It came from my son's senior class.
Sure. I don't know what DPI's timeline is. I know when I shared the draft with them, it was within 5 minutes I had a response.
Oh, awesome.
So,
Well, it's not something new. If there's 100 doing it,
Right.
they know the process.
Exactly. I was hopeful that they would get back to us quickly so that people could plan for it. Everything? Perfect. All right, we will go right into our next meeting. Pledge of allegiance for this flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mission statement, Viroqua Viroqua area schools will nurture excellence, unlock potential, and ignite passion. Spotlight on education, Wyatt, and we have Ross and Logan. You will all come this way, and we didn't really get to speak to you beforehand. The speaker is right up there in the middle of and we usually have people stand a little bit over in here so that you're on and recorded, and so that you can be heard.
So,
So come this way.
is this the regular spot?
You
You
are.
can see yourself. Oh my God.
Is this okay?
Yeah, and then we have Dana waving at you.
Okay. I gotta do it.
And if you don't mind introducing yourselves and welcome,
Yeah.
thank you for coming.
Well, I'm Mr. Cameron, I'm the director of bands here, and
I'm Ross. I'm a senior here and the band president. I'm Logan Mtg, and I'm in 8th grade.
so kind of the what I was excited about on the spotlight is the general spotlight was honor band. So we wanted to kind of talk about our main honor band that we get to do is called our Western Wisconsin Music Conference Honor Band. And that's where we've got schools from Viroqua, Westby, Cashton, Kickapoo, and DeSoto. They're all coming together, and basically the directors fill out a nomination form, and then all of the directors sit down and we decide, okay, let's make a band that's gonna only meet for one day. It has all of our students, not all of our students, but some of our best students. And basically we just make a roster of those students. And then on a Monday in November, students all go to a different school each year. This year it was Cashton. And what I like about our Western Wisconsin Honor Band is that it's very local, and we're in a district, in an area that has a great music education. And then we always get a guest soloist, and we always get a guest conductor. So this year we actually had a guest conductor and a guest composer, Robert Sheldon, and he actually wrote a piece for our music conference. So it was a really cool experience. And so I was thinking, we would kind of talk about, that's the process for most honor bands, and it's different based on region. There's ones that go for the whole state, for the whole country, but 2 states at once, kind of depends. So kind of was going to put it over to you guys and talk about your experience kind of throughout the day as an honor band member.
So, I mean, for us, usually how most of them go, it doesn't matter if it's, like All-State, if it's like Eau Claire, if it's Western Wisconsin, all of them follow like a very similar structure. So we usually start the day about same time as every other school does. And we just start by pretty much doing maybe like a slower paced run of what we're doing for the day. So we'll just run through the songs, maybe attack a couple spots. But then after that, we really like break out into just sections of the music that we need the most work on, because don't forget, we have 1 day to do this. Or in this case of All-State, it's 2, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So that goes on, depending on which one you go to, it can be between like 1 break in 2.5 hours, or you get one like every hour at some bigger ones. Just depends on how things are really going. And you get your lunch, my favorite part of the day. And then after that, we usually break out into sectionals. So, like your high woodwinds, more like saxophones, mid woodwinds, low brass, all that stuff. So we can really like finalize a lot of the harder bits, like runs, intonation and like phrasing for our pieces. And then by then, we're just pretty much doing a concert run, like a dress rehearsal before we go out to dinner. And then we come back 1.5 hours later, perform for you guys, everything sounds awesome, huge round of applause, and that's pretty much a day in an office.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Logan, anything to add on the middle school end of things?
It's super similar, but I feel like the only difference is that a different building.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
have high school and middle school playing together.
Right. Yeah. So the Western Wisconsin one, we're very lucky that we have a middle level one, and we have a high school level one as well.
which we're just very fortunate to have that in our area. A lot of places just don't even have an honor band too. So we're very lucky to have two happening at the same time. So that's kind of the main one I wanted to hit on. And then I was like, well, while I'm at it, we might as well talk about, because like especially these two, they're doing all of the honor bands. And it's a great opportunity. And I think the biggest thing that they get is they just get to be around other musicians that are of their level or better, which is always helpful, right? And they get to just read a lot of music, which is increasing their music literacy as they go along. So we have the Western Wisconsin one. There's an Eau Claire Middle School one, which Logan just got accepted into. That one happens in January. There's an Eau Claire High School one that also happens in November. Ross was very busy that month. And then there's All-State, which is also nomination based. And that's kind of our state for nomination based honor bands. Ross just got accepted into that one as well. And then kind of the big one in the state, it happens annually, is WSMA State Honors. And we actually had 3 students make the middle level one this past year. And the reason that's kind of our bigger one is because that one is actually auditioned. So Logan took that audition, and so did Ross. And if you guys would want to talk about kind of maybe what was that process like for you guys preparing for an honor band audition?
All right, well, I mean, it was like, I wouldn't say it's a wake-up call, but it was kind of like a wake-up call. Like, it kind of made me realize that the way I was practicing and I was rehearsing was like it was just like completely out there. Like, it didn't really have a ton of structure. So what ended up happening was I literally just sat down like one day and we were just like, okay, something's got to change. And we just came up with like a very detailed, like, okay, generally you have 10 minutes for your fundamentals. You spend, I mean, depends on how much you have allotted for the day, but you spend a pretty good chunk of time on the section you want to deal with, and then maybe spend the last couple minutes just like maybe doing something, other project you want to do, or maybe doing like a run, basically just kind of like your mess around time. So it's not as agonizing, because sometimes 60th note runs can just be the biggest pain when you're just doing the same little phrase over and over and over for 20 minutes. But yeah, it was definitely a change of pace, and it kind of made me like fall in love with my instrument even more than I thought. And like my skills just improved tenfold in that probably month or two span leading up to state auditions. And the audition process was very interesting. Like, I mean, it was one person in a classroom, probably about this size. It's like, all right, let's go. And it's kind of nerve-wracking. But besides that, it's just awesome. It really teaches you to get up to that next level of being a musician, that next level of discipline for yourself, which can apply to anything in life. And I think, I mean, if you play an instrument, or maybe your kid plays an instrument, like, it's an awesome thing to do.
Logan, do you have anything?
I'm just saying, like, this was my first year doing it, so I would stay here after school every day to practice, and it made me so much better. And it was worth it.
Yeah, it's a cool experience that they get to, and I tell the students, like, no matter what, if you make it or don't, like, Ross didn't make the cut on that audition, but he still speaks very highly of just the process of doing it. And it's tough. It's a tough audition to get into. So very fortunate that we have those opportunities to do those. And it's kind of a year-long process too. I know as soon as we finished the auditions last year, because Ross can't do an audition this year because he's a senior. So you audition for the next year. So, but as soon as we finished the auditions last year, I'm pretty sure Logan just went and grabbed another solo and started working on the audition materials for the next. So, yeah.
Do you get to pick the piece that you do, or do they require a certain piece for you to audition?
So kind of how it works is, so what you would have to do is play a set of scales from memory. So you're like B flat, E flat, A flat, all of those. And then you get to choose a class A solo of your choice, and you'll play 2D like a 2-minute excerpt. That usually ends up being either a movement or in some cases even like most of your piece. And then you have to play an A2, which is a piece of music that they pick out that kind of like, it's almost like a benchmark for your musical ability to like just play lyrically, but also play technically great and really show that like you're worthy of being at this level. And then they also have sight reading, but I can't really prepare for that, at least not in the conventional sense. So, yeah.
And is your experience the same?
It's similar, like super similar. You would play scales, memorize. For your solo, I think it'd be a class B or A, so it'd be easier. And you do sight reading material, then you would, after like 10 minutes or so, you would head back after you audition with like 3 other people, and then you would just like play like a, I guess like a warm-up piece with other people, and then it's just over.
Yeah, that middle level one, they have kind of a class thing at the end where they just kind of get together and whoever was the judge that day, they just give a class. Which is pretty cool, I think, but that's just part of it, so, yeah. That's all we got. If you have
Any questions? So good for you guys. And you know, you hear about getting in front of people and speaking, and now that's one of the most stressful things that you can do. Same thing performing. You know, it's you and someone judging you and people you don't know and performing just like that. It's good for you for doing it. It sounds like you're very successful at it. And we appreciate you coming here and speaking to it, and we look forward to hearing you perform.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Wyatt, for giving them the opportunity. I know all those things take time, and so thank you for organizing them so that they can have that experience. So you don't have to stay, you do. You don't have to stay. You can head out if you'd like, or you can stay. It's really up to you and what your preference is. But Ross is speaking a little bit more. You can get a quick out.
All right, well, as previously stated, I'm Ross. I'm a senior at Viroqua, and currently I am looking at going to either UW-Madison or the Twin Cities for engineering. And as a backup, I'm looking at one of the UW schools, maybe for music education. And I want to minor in musical performance, maybe continue my track. Just seeing what the little roadmap has here. So some of my favorite classes are obviously like, you know, math, science, just a lot of that problem solving and like kind of like STEM work. Because I always find it just super satisfying, like working through a huge physics problem and just like nailing it right on the head, especially in those big labs where you get to just see all your work just work perfectly in execution. And I obviously love music class, you know, love playing the saxophone, probably really started getting serious about it a couple years back when I first got into my first honors band at Eau Claire and got subbed in last minute into Western Wisconsin for someone from Brookwood, I believe. And that's also been a great time, you know, got some opportunities to play for you guys at stuff like sporting events. And it's just been an awesome ride, like total. And then this last summer, it's been awesome working with Tyler and Brandon on that kind of like graphic designer job where a lot of the school's older materials got replaced with this new sick design. It's like just breathes new life into this entire school. And I thought between the 3 of us, we did like an awesome job. And I've been kind of continuing that graphic design thing by just kind of picking up whatever like job really cool ideas I have. Be that like state posters, maybe like senior banners for specific sports that maybe don't get the recognition they deserve, or even like different departments in the school.
Hypothetically.
What part of the engineering field are you in?
So my dad's always been kind of like, and he's been an electrician since basically probably his mid to late 20s. So I've been kind of looking into electrical engineering, but after a certain point, it's kind of like, what kind of engineering can you do, not what kind of engineering do you want to do? Just depends how complex it goes, but if I can work up to aerospace, I'll definitely be doing that. But I feel like having the knowledge from my dad, working as an electrician for so long, would definitely help me a lot in that field.
Any other questions? Well, if there's anything we can ever do for you, please reach out. We write like nice letters and things like that, but we just feel so honored to have such great students and the achievement that our students have made, and we wish you only the best moving forward, and we'll be interested to see the journey and what you take and how that works out for you. Sure, it'll be great.
Thank you.
And
Ross, sorry, could you share how much you deadlifted on Saturday?
Well, if you insist, Coach. So, may or may not have started out with a PR that day. I started at 365, which was a 5-pound PR over my last deadlift. And then I was like, well, you know what? Let's go for 4 plates. Let's go for 405. And we just picked it up like a warm-up. So I was like, well, I mean, I sort of had 20 pounds onto that too. And then I'll be honest, kind of scary. Like, you're just looking at this weight you've never even fathomed of picking up before, and it went like butter. Like, it moved pretty smooth, especially for my first time even getting anywhere near that kind of weight. And I mean, it was crazy. Like, the crowd was just,
It was ridiculous what
Yeah.
happened.
say, most psychotic lift of the day.
It was.
You must have the technique down perfect then.
Sure.
We'll go with that,
so, are you getting any scholarship offers for something like that? Do our students get?
Depends on where he goes for schools. A lot of schools will have powerlifting teams. It's still a
Sure.
club sport at the college
Right.
levels. Some of them do, so
Okay.
certainly would be able to compete at the collegiate level.
Is that something of interest?
Yeah,
Or is
so.
it just for fun?
I mean, I fell in love with powerlifting like sophomore year when we really started making it a real team. So I would love to continue doing that at the college level. Obviously, it's not quite like a real sport. Well, it's a real sport. Let's get that clear, but like compared to, it doesn't get the same recognition like Badger football or, like Texas A&M track.
Right.
But I mean, it's still an awesome sport with an awesome community that's very positive. So I would love to continue that. And obviously my track career, if I'm able to, be that JUCO,
So you
whatever
didn't
college.
mention track before, so
Mhm.
explain your track journey. You didn't say anything
Yeah.
about that.
So I started kind of late, 8th grade year, because I was like, well, I kind of like running, so I'll give it a shot. And first ever race I did was in Westview. It was the Open 400 that guy right there. He was like, you're kind of like, yeah, I had a feeling that this was going to be the start of something. And almost like when I got off the track, almost blacked out, but I'm like, that felt awesome. Like I got 6th place. And ever since then, it's just been like a ton of work. Obviously, my 3rd year in track as a sophomore, we had that crazy relay team, set of teams really, go to state, and we just killed it there. And that was just like one of the most awesome experiences I've had with a sport or really anything like that. And obviously you're gonna face adversity in anything you do, but it's just good to keep your head up and remember, like, especially for me as a senior, I'm still in this. So it's definitely probably my favorite, or at least top 3 sport to compete in, maybe not to watch. I'll be the first to admit it. It's just something I don't see myself putting in the next 5 years.
So how about your music interests? Any scholarship opportunities in that area?
I'll be completely honest, I have not looked into it like that specifically quite yet. But I do know as part of like the UW education system, they have basically said they'll like waive your tuition after, if you pursue an education degree. And, you know, you have to work a certain number of years if they want to pay off that tuition. So I've definitely thought about doing music ed. And I would love to do musical performance. I know Eau Claire, they had an opportunity to basically audition for a scholarship. But the terms and conditions for that were kind of like strict on, basically you had to be going into some kind of like big music major. And I wasn't looking at Eau Claire at the time because this was during Eau Claire honors band. You had to do it during your lunch period. And as I previously stated,
And that's your
like,
favorite part.
You listen.
so I didn't do that. But if there's any opportunity that comes up that I notice where, you know, they're a little more loose about it, where it's like, if I do music, they would help out, then yes, I would definitely look into it.
Well, if you're going to be an aeronautic engineer, you're probably gonna be pretty busy.
Hopefully it is.
I do think though, I mean, your sweatshirt's fabulous, but it needs to have, in my opinion,
No bears, no bears.
have a saxophone like coming out of the bird's mouth. And it should have something with running, like you could have some shoes, a shoe on the wing or something. I mean, you need to really integrate all of the things that are, I think that'd be pretty cool.
I trust Ross can come up with the designs.
Wouldn't that be kind of cool though, like putting all those things somehow within the powerlifting? Just a thought.
That'd be quite the project.
I know. You got some time.
The NHS sweatshirts.
That's been quite the undertaking, but I'm really liking how they're turning out so far. Looking awesome.
Does anyone else have any questions? So I didn't get to introduce myself. So anyway, Angie, very nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. We wish you, I didn't get to say hi earlier. Very nice to meet you. Thank you for coming. You don't have to stay now if you don't choose to do so, but you certainly may.
Thanks, you guys.
And thank you for bringing them again. Awesome. Okay, that is my favorite part.
I'm thinking of lunch.
Yeah, that was great. The next item is the committee reports. We have compensation, Kim.
Yeah, compensation met tonight and was in closed session basically almost their entire time. We talked about the focus of it was resignation scenarios or retirement scenarios that we could offer to staff in light of declining enrollment, so.
Thank you. VAM's key performance indicators, Shayna and Jim.
Did you join the meeting?
Yes, I saw that. Thank you. That is a good one.
Yeah, attention. Great, great.
Oh, it's all there.
Yeah, it's all on there. Yeah.
Did you all see these? Did you get this? Anybody else? I'll give yours a minute. All of that new presentation. Oh, I just wanted them to have it in their hands, thanks.
So, my name is Shayna Johnson. I am the chair of the VAS Governance Council, and she's been here for 3 years. So, this is Jim, Jarman, he is our treasurer as well, so we're both part of the executive committee. We really appreciate you taking the time to hear our presentation today. Some of you might remember that we did this last year as well, and we really want to make sure that this is an annual thing so that we are transparent about what we're doing and also really show our pride in our, not only VAMS, but our greater school district as well. We really take a lot of pride in that relationship. So I'm going to jump right in. So tonight we're going to cover our Montessori overview. What is Montessori? For those of you that might be new or quite familiar with what Montessori is, it doesn't hurt to have a recap of that. And then part of our contract, we have key performance indicators that are part of that. We wanted to report out on what those are. And then what we have coming up as a governance council in terms of plans for this next year. So first, we just want to go over what is Montessori. It was created by Dr. Maria Montessori. It's centered at school based on the child. So Dr. Montessori believed that children learn through hands-on activities and experiences in their environment. So in a VAMS classroom, that's a lot of bead work, for example, and we've seen some of the teachers present here, a lot of wood learning materials, things like that that are in the classroom. Curriculum has been successful for over 100 years. There are more than 500 public Montessori schools in the US and 30 in the state of Wisconsin that are public charter Montessori schools. So a Montessori environment is a prepared environment. So there are multi-age groupings for 2 to 3 year cycles. So for example, and this is a really great part of Montessori, in my opinion, as a parent of a Montessori child, there are 3 grades in one classroom. So first, second, third grade. And how that works is at a young age is the children are partnered with a mentor. So my son, for example, when he started in school, was partnering with an older mentor and they teach each other in a hands-on learning environment. It's really a beautiful thing. And so children learn at their own pace. They help each other out in like if my son wasn't that great in math, then the older mentor paired by the teacher would help him in math and then vice versa. So they learn from each other. They work in a quiet, respectful environment. It is interesting, you go into a Montessori classroom many times and it's quiet. Materials are arranged sequentially from most basic to the most challenging and abstract. Movement is used throughout the classroom, and then, so like a child can move from this station to this station to this station, and work is performed individually or in small groups at small tables or rugs. And outdoor learning environments are considered an extension of the classroom. So an outdoor learning space is important to our pedagogy. Who are we? We are part of the Viroqua Area School District. We're very grateful for that partnership, and it's a tuition-free nonprofit public charter school. So it was established in 2014, and it currently serves 144 students in 4K through 8th grade. Viroqua Area Montessori School shares a campus with the district, and the elementary school is in elementary, and then middle school starts over in middle school and in 4th through 6th, and then we go into adolescent, 7th and 8th. Adolescent was a later addition. Public charter schools are public schools created through a business-like contract or charter between the governance council and the sponsoring school board. We had an updated contract negotiation in 2023. The charter defines the missions and methods of the charter school, and the chartering authority holds the school accountable to its charter. So for our governance council, we have a working governance council made up of parents and community members in collaboration with teacher representative, which is Mrs. Heidi Krediger, administrators, and school board members. We are fortunate to have Kim be our school board member representative, and then Pat and Steve both work with us, as well as Dr. Hill. The VAS board meets on the 3rd Monday of the month, and we have committee meetings. We are deep into committee meetings. So we have committee meetings the first Saturday of every month at the Viroqua Food Co-op. There are 5 different committees. One is an ad hoc committee that was recently formed. So our regular committees are executive committee. We work on administrative collaboration, SWOT analysis, coordination, and contract negotiation. Improved Governance Committee works on policy and bylaws, recruitment and onboarding. Responsible Growth Committee is our financial, curriculum, and program additions. And Community Partnership Committee is outreach, advertising, marketing, and events. And then recently we added an outdoor learning committee because the feedback that we have gotten from our parents and from our folks that we work with is that an outdoor learning space is something that we should be looking into. That's a deep desire for our parents to have. And would be a great addition that the entire school can benefit from. Our long-term objective. So every year in November, we have a SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. All of our governance council members attend and we talk about what is it that we are succeeding at, what are some opportunities that we can look at. And we broke it down by 5 different categories. So long-term planning, growth opportunities and enrollment, alignment with the district strategic plan, and then an outdoor learning space fall underneath that category. And then from these categories, we take this information, put it together in a presentation and present it to administration and our principal partners as well, so they know what our plans are for the year. PR community engagement is another tier that we look at, and that's community outreach, family events, understanding of Montessori. One of the reasons why we're here today came out of that particular need last year. On awareness and marketing. Governing, fulfillment of VAMs on district contract items, updatings of VAMs bylaws, handbook, administrative items, district communication, utilization of WORKS, which is a Wisconsin Resource Center for Charter Schools. An example of that was in June, we had a member of WORKS come to our meetings to help us learn open meeting laws and what we have to do to follow those to make sure that we are good stewards of that. Education, test scores, level of learning, student engagement, and then staffing and support, training, our KPI fulfillment, and teacher retention. A lot of, some of 4 and 5 really comes down to our administrative partners. So Pat is a great partner to help that, and then also Heidi as our teacher representative as well. So I'm gonna turn it over to Jim, who's gonna talk about our key performance indicators. These are attached to our contract and are revisited every 5 years.
Thanks, Shannon. So the first 2 that we'll talk about are really about how we work with the district. The first one is really our academic achievement levels. So you'll see like yellow check marks and all these. And really what we're indicating here is like we measure against these every year and we're succeeding against those. Like we're delivering on them every year. But we want to make sure that we're refreshing on what those are. So it's our academic achievement coordination with the school. The second piece is enrollment, very big topic these days. It's something that the Governance Council spends a lot of time talking about. How do we not only maximize enrollment in our program, but can we be a tool for the district in helping to make sure that we have, we're drawing the right students in, that we're continuing to grow our program, that we can retain the students in our district by having options for them that fit their family needs and that fit the educational profile that they're looking for. So our enrollment target, we have to be at 75% of our maximum capacity. We're over 90% every year. We have a waiting list for about half of our classrooms. But that is a constant topic of conversation. Like, what do we think about with enrollment? Are there ways that we can think differently about that might give us an opportunity to maximize the reach of the school? So within the Governance Council specifically, there are 3 other criteria. One is financial. So that's the review and approval of our budget process that we do every year with the school. So we present our plan to the school, our priorities for the school in the spring. The school comes back with a budget. We review that and approve it or give feedback to that over the summer so that we're ready to go when the school starts. Training, we require all staff, teachers and assistants will complete Montessori training that's paid for by the district. That's done in collaboration with our Governance Council. And the last one is satisfaction. So this is an important one for us. How do we think about the staff and the teachers that work here, and are they having a good experience, especially when they're leaving? Are we understanding the reasons that they might leave? What are the things that we can do to make sure that we're retaining the best staff for our students? Because our performance is really obviously our students are doing it, but our teachers are enabling, all right? So it's a partnership and we have to make sure that everything we do is supporting our staff so that we can have the best experience possible for our students. So we'll talk a little bit about KPIs and how the school actually performs. So the first piece here, as Shane mentioned, our enrollment here will show at 144, that's 90% capacity. That number is actually 146 now. We had a special session to add 2 more students that came on. That was within the last several weeks. There's actually a family of 3 who moves in. 2 of their students are able to join the Montessori program. There's a cap on our enrollment. So one of the students is not. The family still came in. So they have one of their students in the traditional school and 2 in the Montessori program. So that number is actually up to 146 now. But we're regularly above this 90% capacity. Just a really quick snapshot from our state scorecard summary. The highlight, the school is performing very well. We have very good scores here. the overall scorecard summary is here, but we'll go through in the next couple slides and talk about some of the specific areas that we get measured against and how we perform. And so Pat's provided this information, so thanks, Pat, for making sure that happens. So English language, 3rd through 8th grade, you'll see here is on the left is our VAM score versus the state scorecard on the right. And you'll see like well above what that state average looks like. We're at 85% in the meeting. So very, very strong performance in our English language arts. Math is a little bit closer to the state average, still above, but a little bit closer. And then as you get into science and social studies, you'll see again, much higher here. So we're at 78.6% versus the state for 50 for our science scores. And then for social studies, 92, almost 93% versus the state number of 56. So we're very excited about the way the school performs. We're always paying attention to what can we do more to make sure that we continue to increase in any place that we have opportunities. But we are super proud of the staff that we have and the teachers that make this possible. Like of course, we're excited about our kids, especially the parents, but none of this works without our staff. So our staff is super important. That's part of the reason we focus so much on staff satisfaction and how do we make sure that we give them the resources that they need. So one of the things that we've also been really excited about is the recognition that the school is achieving. So just for this school year, niche.com, they do a ranking of all the schools in the state. So VAMS was recognized as the #4 Montessori school in the state of Wisconsin. Right here in Viroqua, the #4 Montessori school in the state of Wisconsin. And it's the #7 K-8 charter in the state. Right here in our school. We're really, really excited about what that means for our students, but we're excited about what it means not just for VAM students, but for the whole district. And so one of the things that has been fun since Jeremy has come on board is thinking about like, how do we take some of the best things that happen in VAMs and are there opportunities to think about how we can transition and learn some of those things and spread them across. And it's not just a one-way relationship. So Pat and our teaching staff have been working this concept for the last couple of years of how do we have our VAM students, or VAMS teachers, spending time in our traditional classrooms and vice versa. So we can say like, there are some things that we can learn from each other. How do we make sure that we're taking the best of all the things that we offer in our district and make sure we have the best outcome that we can for our students? So we're super excited about this. We've not done probably the best job of talking about it in the past. One of the things, because we're at over a 90% enrollment cap, we don't have a lot of opportunity to have other students join, or we haven't historically. So there's been, I'd say, a little hesitancy sometimes to tell a story and create a lot of waiting lists for people that may want to be part of this that don't have an opportunity. I think we're thinking differently about those opportunities now. What can we do to make sure that we tell this story and we have an understanding of what real demand looks like for a program like this in our community? So as you guys all saw, Jeremy sent out recently an enrollment survey. We'll talk about that and kind of mention the up next piece. That's something we were very proud to partner on because we know we have a waiting list for about half of our classrooms today, but we all know that that waiting list is not representative of reality. And that's because if you don't get in on your first pass, potentially your second pass, families don't keep coming back. If they know they're capped out and there's not a space for their student, they don't keep reevaluating that. So that waiting list is important, but it doesn't really represent the demand for students who may want to be in our school. So we want to make sure that we're telling that story and we understand what the demand looks like so we can think about how might we adjust our program to give more opportunities for more students to stay in our district. So coming up, as Sheena mentioned, the Outdoor Learning Space Committee, that is just something that's kicking off. It's an ad hoc committee. We met with teachers about 2 weeks ago. Got several pages of notes specifically on what some of the ideas are to do that we can look and consider as we incorporate that. We've already done a campus walk with Dr. Hill and with our staff to look at what some areas in the school might be for including more outdoor learning space here. So we're very excited about that. That will officially kick off on Thursday. So we've got members of our governance council, members of our parent group, and community members who want to be part of that. So that's starting on Thursday. We've got our VAMS website updated, so thank you staff for making that happen, and a new link. It's a little shorter, which is nice. The enrollment potential survey, we were just talking about that. We have VAMS information night coming up on January 13th. I must have deleted that one, 13th of January. So we have an open house where parents can come talk to teachers, tour classrooms, ask any questions that they have about the program. Very popular event every night. So Pat is a really important part of hosting that, our staff as well. And then our enrollment period is February 2nd through 27th. So that's when we have an opportunity to start to see like what are family preferences potentially to join the school. So that's coming up. We have a SWOT presentation coming up to this district administration that'll be coming shortly. And then telling our story, as you guys saw here, what is this like? It's on the next page. Yeah. So we're gonna tell our story. So this is something that we've not done before because we were kind of, I think, a little concerned about what that potential creating a bigger waiting list might look like. But we're gonna tell the story. And so this is gonna start showing up in January. So if you're on the drive between Viroqua and Westby, you will see this sign as you go by. So telling the story, we are a tuition-free public Montessori school right here in Viroqua. What does the enrollment look like? Where are the grades? And then right there on the bottom is that new shorter website. And we're excited to tell that story. We also have recently just created officially for the first time the VAM's Facebook page to help communicate messages out that we would have. And again, our way of communicating with the community more broadly and telling what's going on with our school. And then a piece that I'll leave for the school board members, you guys will have this in hand. What we try to do is like a little summary, like what VAMS is and what it isn't. So it's all the things that we talked about today, because there can be a lot of misperceptions, I think, sometimes even within our school. Like I've had teachers in the school ask me questions like, oh, are you a voucher school? No, we are not a voucher school. So they say, we are a public nonprofit school. So this is a little bit of a bit of telling our story and making sure that there is information available for students and families who want to know about this. And just as a little bit of a side note to the enrollment survey, just in the past several days over the course of the weekend, I've had 5 different families that came up and said, I heard about this. Is this something I can do? Can you forward me that? Families from the forest school, families from the Waldorf school, families from our traditional school here. And one of the things that I found to be really interesting is the number of teachers and people who have teaching backgrounds who are parents when they talk about the experience and say, just so at one of our recent parent group meetings, we had a couple of them that said, you know, I actually, when I was in school doing my teaching degree, I didn't understand what this Montessori thing was, didn't think it was for me. And then I saw my kid in my classroom and I knew that this is the only experience I wanted to have. It's not the only experience. It's not a better experience. It's a different experience. But having folks who said, I never thought that was for me. And now I see that I never want anything else. That was the same thing I heard from one of the families that I talked to this weekend that said, I was a teaching degree person. I never thought this was what I want. Now my kid is in 5th grade and I'm wondering, is it possible to switch him over? Because I think it'd be a great fit. So we're really proud of our school. We're really proud of our staff. And we want to do everything we can to tell that story and make sure that that can be a tool for our district in offering the best educational variety and potential for our whole district. So I'll stop there. Questions?
Anybody?
But it's a lot.
The only thing that,
These guys are working hard.
I mean, it was sent to us ahead, so I read through it already. I'm sure everyone else did as well. So thank you for the great work that you're doing. We are a community of choice. People want choices and they're all great choices. But the more we can explain what we offer in our district and how that looks and how that might fit what someone wants to see for their children, our students, the better off we are. And we do offer lots of choices, and it's public education. There are, we are not a voucher, you are not a voucher, Laurel is not a voucher. Just trying to get the message out, and we keep trying to say it. Hopefully this will really get it across people if they can see it on a billboard and then go to the site. Because I don't know what else we can do other than these types of things. So thank you for the great work that you're doing. And
I would say that we're also, like, we're coming up with a marketing plan to figure out what we can do. We have a share drive that is full of stuff now.
right.
And so we are building out our marketing materials, and that is my background. And so that's something that I can grab onto and figure out, okay, and with our committee, what are we focusing on?
Sure.
So that would be great. And then the other thing I would add is, speaking of choice, Montessori might not be for every student, but it is an option. And I know that Laurel also is a wonderful opportunity, and a lot of our VAM students, that can be a good fit for them as well. So having that option that they can go from 8th grade adolescent program into Laurel is really something that I'm grateful for as a parent. That's where my child is now. He started in pre-K for VAMs. And just having that choice is something that the district it's great that it offers that. So thank you for that.
Well, every student learns in a different way, and we all know that the teacher that you put in front is life-changing, and having, the best and the brightest high-energy teachers is the most important thing that we can do, and we're very fortunate for the teachers that we have. Our whole district is working on a marketing plan as well, because in the world in which we live today, that's something that we've never been good at. We've never wanted to say, wow, we have somebody that just, received a weightlifting goal that they never thought that they could achieve. We're not good at bragging about the great work that we do, and we need to do a better job of it so that people are aware that our school district is a wonderful place to be. So, thank you. Anybody else?
I'd say I'm very lucky because I've had my daughters in both programs. Like my little one has been in the Montessori program the entire time, and my older daughter has been in both the traditional school and the Montessori school. And I can say, like from our experience, we've had excellent experiences every single place that we touch. In our traditional school and our Montessori school, to your point about choice, we know families that have students at Waldorf, students in the Montessori, and students in the traditional school here. And that's part of like figuring out like what works for every family, but having something that helps build out the total portfolio of the district is really important. And I think there's just so much opportunity to help people understand like how the program works. Like when people say, oh, but wait, your kids can be on the same basketball team? How does that work? Is that different? Absolutely. We can be a part of every part of the extracurricular, for example. All of those places that we cross over and build total community, it's not a thing that most people know. So you've got an awesome opportunity to tell the story.
Our homeschool students can take courses at our public school. Youth initiative students can take classes at our public school. And I just think trying to get those messages out is very important. And our administrators are working on that. It takes time and energy, and one step at a time. So thank you. Anybody else?
Just like their passion and enthusiasm. Great to see.
Thank you.
It's the best advertisement you can come on.
I have attended a 7th and 8th grade class. You don't call it Montessori, but
Adolescent program. It is
adolescent. That was amazing. I loved being there, and the energy, and it was a debate, and listening to them debate and have to debate something that they actually didn't agree with. It was a wonderful experience, and they did a great job. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next, welcome visitors. All of our visitors are here. Consent agenda, we have approval of the agenda, proof of public notice, November meeting minutes, check summary 1 in the amount of $301,266.29. Retirements, resignations, we have none. Appointments, none. I have a motion by Robert. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Motion carries. Action item summary 2. These are expenses related to health insurance.
Move to approve the check summary 2 in the amount of $567,680.25.
Thank you, Kim. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And I abstain. Resolution authorizing the school start date waiver for the 26-27 school year.
The resolution authorizing the school start date exemption request for the 26-27 school year.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? We would like to thank the committee that put this together and the administrative team. These things do not happen easily, and we appreciate the work that took place, and for all of the community members that filled out the survey, and teachers and staff as well. So thank you for that. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Information and discussion, donations over $100. We have BSN Sport.
There's a second part.
Let's clarify,
Wait a second.
just to make sure.
C.
Dana, was your vote aye or nay?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. 26-27 school calendars, school start and end dates. We're still working on the details of staff Contract in-service parent-teacher conference dates, that does not require board action. If the DPI approves our waiver, we will meet with the Viroqua School Calendar Committee again to finalize and update the board once finalized.
I move to approve the 26-27 school calendar, student school start date of Tuesday, August 25th, 26th, and student end date of Friday, May 28th, 2027.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
How can we approve it if we don't have the waiver?
So the way that works is that we have to do both of those things by December 31st. So if the waiver is denied by DPI, then that committee will go back again and come up with a plan B, and bring that back to you. And so then you would just do a separate motion at that point in time to go with plan B.
So by voting yes, we're approving this, but the DPI can override our
Correct.
decision.
Correct. But we're meeting their December 31st deadline.
Right. I was thinking at it from a different angle.
Yep,
I appreciate that. Yep.
sure. Any other discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now, information and discussion, donations over $100. BSM Sports and Jed Journey, $700 for middle school playground equipment. Elizabeth and Jacob Hawk, $250 for VAM's E2 field trips. In memory of Art Cronin, $250 for Viroqua Schools field trips. Culver's, $286.84. Sources of Strength Share Night. Compare Financial, $300 for FFA. Mary Reed, $200 for FFA. Scott and Melinda Benzing, $100 for Viroqua High School boys basketball. And Jacob and Laura Conis, $80 for 8 shovels for elementary school students. We are amazingly fortunate. Every month we have phenomenal donations from community members and individuals, and we cannot thank everyone enough. We are fortunate. Thank you for the philanthropic giving to our district for our students. New scholarship, Leanne Klum, she is a local dentist, and Rob Klum, who manages the office, a dental scholarship. Jeremy, do you want to expand on this at all?
Just that it's another scholarship that is in the mix for Viroqua area school students, and we're incredibly appreciative of that work from the dental office.
And they're wanting to award the scholarship to individuals that are interested in some type of a dental occupation at some point. It could be a hygienist, administrative, even in a dental office. So thank you for that. District Administrator, legislative linkage update, budget planning, community partnerships, and outreach.
I'll be super quick because we've spent plenty of time together in the last week, and I appreciate that. We met last Wednesday with legislators from the city level on our city council all the way up through a representative from Senator Baldwin's office to just talk about the great things that are happening in Viroqua area schools. We also then made a segue to some of the uphill battles that we have in front of us, specifically budget planning and looking at declining enrollment and what that will mean for our district. And so we're constantly in those conversations with the administrative team, spoken with union reps who are then sharing that information with our staff. And they know that balancing the budget is an important piece of what we do, and an expectation of you, our board. And then I wanted to share that we continue to invite those community partnerships and outreach to happen here in our school. We were able to give, Jason gave a tour to, let me think, what day was Nelson Global here? Middle of last week? Came, some of the guys that work at Nelson Global came in to tour our tech ed building. They had been asking to do that. And it was fun to just listen to them talk about what used to be in that space and what is in that space now, and how proud they are of the work of our district to prepare students to go into the workforce. So we invite everybody to come in at any point in time to see the great things that we're doing in our district.
On a side note, they sold fruit I know someone pretty close to me that stopped in to pick up their fruit and said, my child is old enough, we're opening an all ages Viroqua because I want him in this class, in this space.
Pretty incredible. And if you haven't had a chance to eat fruit from those boxes, meat, cheese, whatever you purchased, it's pretty phenomenal. So thank you for that.
Administrative reports. We have winter activities, conference realignment update, solstice dinner, professional development committee, winter concerts, assemblies, and celebrations. Who would like to speak first?
Go first.
Jason.
I would say first off, I can't believe Wyatt didn't mention, there is a concert Wednesday night. So, the high school concert is Wednesday for those that are interested.
They have a lot of things about it.
Six PM, the concert for the kids, 5:30 is call time. So that's one of the things coming up. We've done a number of winter activities. We, last week for the 67th day of school, which was going to be Thursday, but then with the snow day ended up being Friday. The high school student council placed 177 little ducks around the school for kids to do a duck scavenger hunt, and one of them was labeled as the 67th duck to turn in, so they could turn those things in for prizes. And we had the middle school join us. We knew we pretty much would have to have the middle school join us, especially for our 67th day activity, so. We also are planning, the staff is working on planning the day before break to do activities. We do team building activities and connection activities with students. So we have the staff all come into this room actually and develop a list of activities that they would be interested in hosting, and then throw them out to the students. And most of the time the students choose similar activities. There's a few times we don't get enough interested in doing different things that we shift around. But that relates directly with our goal of building those relationships, which we know are all that important and are all vital for the students to learn. So the other thing, and I told Dan I would share the news, we did have our application for conference realignment denied. So we are setting up our date to have our appeal hearing with that, which we are given. I know it may seem like it is a decision that, you know, can affect numerous generations, but we will be allotted 5 minutes to state our case.
So generous.
If the SWC wishes to join us in stating our case, we can have 7 minutes. But we'll probably just have them do it in like paper format, because they were a little disappointed. The main reason we were given for the denial was they felt like the benefits to Viroqua were not substantial enough to offset the hardships it would cost the Cooley going to 6 schools, which the SWC is like, that's where we've been forever.
SWC has been 6 schools forever. Yeah. So they weren't real thrilled to hear that the WIA is more concerned about the Cooley than the SWC.
Well, we're working on scheduling our 5-minute appeal. We've actually had some communications with members of the committee as far as what things we should highlight in our appeal, and every correspondence has probably gotten even more and more positive sort of information to share, so.
So basically, they know better than we do about what's best for our programs, is that the
I'm not gonna say
messaging?
that on public record, and as we're being recorded. I can say we were
I'm okay with that.
I can say we were disappointed because we're doing it in, the only reason we're doing this is to benefit our student athletes, their families, and our community. One could make the argument that when the SWC was formed, we probably made a mistake not joining them at that point in time. And so in many aspects, we're looking at correcting that mistake now, and hopefully they will understand what we share with them on the 15th of January.
Dan, do you want to go next, since
Sure.
you're already
Yeah, that's
tied
fine.
into that
That's great.
conversation?
Thank you, Jason, for explaining that. Winter sports participation, I'm happy to report, has improved, especially given the fact that we had a large class graduate last year. We were a little concerned that our numbers would be down again. But we have 92 athletes in school-sponsored sports, an additional 28 in powerlifting for a total of 120 athletes, which is about a 20% increase from last winter. So that's a really good thing, especially considering, once again, a large class graduating out. Kind of the breakdown of that, or the distribution, if you will. Thankfully, both our wrestling and our boys basketball and girls basketball numbers have increased. Wrestling in particular, you know, it's a sport where you have so many weight classes, so you need to have enough kids to field a full roster. And last year, unfortunately, we didn't have quite enough varsity athletes. This year, we're significantly moving back up the right direction. We have 4 female wrestlers, which is really important, good to see. And generally speaking, our registrations at this point for middle school are looking good as well. Middle school season is a little different because the sports seasons are about half as long, so they're kind of staggered. So girls basketball will start after the break. But on the whole, it looks like middle school participation numbers are slightly up compared to last year as well. So all around really good news with regard to participation in other sports.
Tomorrow night is home wrestling
Wrestling,
versus Westby, t-shirt night,
yep, t-shirt night.
and we expect to win.
You know you're recorded publicly.
I'm well aware of this.
Thank you. Steve?
Let's see, I think I've got it sharing. There we go. Yeah, so there are some things that were already shared that I won't bore you by being a little bit redundant, but I do want to make sure to give a UHawks rock to our coaches and advisors that really help this be a place where all students belong. Just kind of reiterating that same sentiment that was shared throughout the night, whether it be our student representatives that were here from Honors Band or speaking on behalf of themselves, or the band's governance council talking about providing more opportunities for choice for our students, our coaches and advisors do that as well, and just make it another opportunity for students to be able to identify with something that it is that we offer here. So thank you so much to them. Dan talked about the boys basketball, wrestling pieces, student council. I did want to mention that we had 141 middle school students earn the opportunity to participate in the Green and Gold Party this year from our fundraiser. And so that was excellent. Those fundraisers help raise money to improve our school experiences both on and off campus, including our field trips that our students take. In fact, on Friday, our 5th graders are going to go ice skating, and that's going to be funded through those funds that are raised by that student council fundraiser. And the every day at recess, our doggo ball pit is filled with students, and also something that was purchased with student council fundraiser funds. So just a couple examples, but there are tons of examples of how those funds help us. So then additionally, we just had our auditions last week, and our first rehearsal for the Finding Nemo musical, middle school, high school musical, is going to be tomorrow. And that's going to be an awesome opportunity that our students haven't had in a while to be able to be in a musical. Obviously, we know that this is an artistic community that loves their music, and so it's awesome for our school to be able to provide that as well. Because it's the first time that we've offered it in a while, I think we had some students that were a little sheepish, a little apprehensive about joining, but I'm confident Emily Sainer, we've already seen, does an incredible job of building programs, and I'm confident that this is going to be the same. And once more students see the awesome work that's going to come out of those efforts, we're going to see an increase in participation in that too. Other winter activities that have happened recently. So our 5th grade math knowledge competition, we had 10 students from VMS and BAMS go and compete in Sparta. And we had some excellent showings. We had a team place 3rd, and we had 3 individuals that placed in the top 3 individual results as well. So some really incredible results there. and tons of compliments of not just their math ability, but also just the quality of human beings that represent Viroqua when we go outside of this building as well. So a really cool celebration there. And then this is a picture of some of our sources of strength peer leaders volunteering at Bethel Homes, playing some bingo with some of the residents there. So just another opportunity where our students are able to get out of this building, be able to serve our community and make a difference that way too, and see themselves in some of the things that are happening outside of this building and see themselves as valuable members of the community. So really cool work by Haley Bray and our middle school sources of strength peer leaders there too. Winter concerts. So we had a couple of winter concerts over the last couple of weeks. We did a little bit of an experiment this year where 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade were pulled separate from the high school. So we had a 6th grade concert, which packed the house. We had a 7th and 8th grade concert that packed the house. Each one of those went about an hour, a little bit more than an hour, which was appreciated by the families where they didn't have to sit through the multiple hours of concerts. And I wanted to give a huge shout out to Beth, Brad, and Wyatt. Wyatt was here earlier. Didn't really talk much about the concerts, but man, the quality of performances, the quality of those events are just outstanding. And Rebecca Aspenson as well is one of our paraprofessionals in the middle school that has shown up to multiple concerts over the last couple of years to make sure that that's an experience that all students are able to find success and enjoyment out of. So a huge shout out to her as well. If you haven't heard about or seen the work that she does, she's an absolute rock star in supporting our students. And then another shout out to Jocelyn Olson, who had speaking part in both the 6th grade and the 7th and 8th grade concerts. One of them was planned by him, one of them was not planned. I actually ended up having getting a concussion last week, and so I wasn't able to attend the concert last week, but he was willing to jump in and take that speaking part last minute. So a huge shout out to him too. Just another incredible member of our staff that makes sure that we have some wonderful, valuable experiences for our students too. Assemblies and celebrations. So you heard a little bit about this earlier. So Viroqua Middle School and VAMS both got 4 stars, exceeds expectations on their school report cards. VMS received the U.S. News and World Report Best Middle School 4 years running. Every year that the award has been in existence, we've won it. We've been awarded that award. And VAMS, as mentioned earlier, number 4 public Montessori school in the state. So how do we decide to celebrate in the middle school? Well, of course, we're going to dress up our principals in Patrick Star costumes. We're going to have students pie them in the face. So that's what we chose to do. We filled the gym with our students, and then we had a drawing for students to be eligible. They had to have no missing work by the Thursday before the assembly. And then we drew a student, one from VAMS E2, one from VAMS Adolescent, and then one from 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So we had 6 total students come up. So this is one of those students that's preparing to come up. I chose this picture because you can see where he's preparing to stand, because he wasn't about to just pie me in the face from point blank. He actually wanted to throw the pie, and he was successful in throwing the pie. If you can't really see, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I've never been that satisfied, I think, with a job well done in my life. You can see that on his face. And you can see the look on my, no, you can't see the look on my face. It's also proud of his achievement there. But I want to back up actually a second here, because another thing I want to highlight in this picture, I don't know if you see it. Maybe I'll zoom in there. I don't know if you see it, but there's a resemblance here that might not be totally obvious. But I don't know if you're a Star Wars fan, but like you see it, right? You see it? So there's Emperor Palpatine there. And his face is pretty clean. So luckily we had some other students that were involved in this. But again, if you're a Star Wars fan, you might be thinking Return of the Jedi. So our unexpected hero, also in that picture, you may not have seen him. So here's that picture again. There he is in the back. There's Byron. And he's having a good time watching me get pied. But he's about to come up, and he's going to be our hero. Make sure that Emperor Palpatine gets pied in the face here too. And here's what that looked like. So you can't really hear the sound here, but you see the graphic there. So the whole gym was filled with "Let's Go Byron" chants as he comes up and he passes me and chooses to pie Pat right in the face. So that was my favorite part of the assembly. And you can see
I mean, look at that. If you can't tell me that we don't make a positive difference in students' lives, when you see that reaction. So ultimately, both of us got pie in the face. We both enjoyed a little bit of a celebration there. The kids had a great time, rightfully so. That's after all who it is that we were celebrating, right? Not just our accomplishments, it's really their accomplishments that it is that we were celebrating. But that doesn't mean that, we couldn't enjoy Pat getting pie in the face. I mean, look at those arms. I mean, that is joy. So that was a little bit of the celebration that we participated in.
That was very entertaining, nice.
It's touching the floor, yeah.
So that's tough to top there. So we have the solstice dinner and professional development committee. Are Jeremy, are you Pat? Can you compete with that?
Well, I have Pat's report also, and that was shared with you all electronically.
Yes.
He is at a concert for Roman tonight, so that's where he is. But he shares that our elementary music teacher has been busy putting together concerts. There were some around Veterans Day, and then she has some coming up this week also with kindergarten and first grade tomorrow, and then BAM's kinder through third on Thursday. Fourth grade concert will be in April. As Steve shared the assemblies, they also at the elementary did a school-wide attendance assembly. They had a 95% goal and they were 94% attendance. Third grade was 96.4%. So they celebrated third grade individually. But they'll get to display an attendance champion sign for the next month and get an extra recess with Mr. Olbert. Angie talked about the donations of the snow shovels. The kids are beside themselves that they get to shovel off the concrete down by the basketball courts. I mean, that is just the highlight of recess, is getting outside to work and shovel snow. So heavy work, good practice, and getting kids ready to go home for the winter break as well.
I think their parents will get them to show.
It's different, right, when your parents want that. So that's what's going on at the elementary school. Solstice dinner is Wednesday, hosted by Driftless, and that Ruthie and Luke always do such a great job of giving back to the community, and I expect that Wednesday night will be no different.
Professional development committee?
I can speak to that.
Okay.
So as a result of some of Dr. Hill's feedback meetings with staff in the fall, that was another theme that came up, having some staff input in order to maximize the value of our professional development days. So we have formed a committee of representatives from different buildings. We were supposed to meet after school last Tuesday, but if you can remember, there was some weather, so we had postponed that meeting till after the break. We'll have our first meeting and look at two of the dates just briefly for this spring, but really, once we have a calendar in place for next year, the real work will be preparing what the look of those however many meetings we have end up being. So more news will come later.
Perfect, thank you. Board reports, VAMs, Kim?
Well, they pretty much covered a lot of the things, and I missed part of the meeting, the front and the back end, but I would encourage you, if you get a chance, to look at their website, because if you look at it, it's got some new things on, and it's just really, really good. So, and I think otherwise they kind of covered everything that they covered.
I did look at the website, it looks great, very colorful, very bright, nice job. I took a peek.
And we're headed there with the rest of them as well.
Great, wonderful. Laurel High School, I'm sorry, what?
The bar has been.
Yes, it has.
Yes, it has. Agreed.
Laurel High School opted not to meet in December, they'll meet in January.
Perfect. Thank you. Scholarship committee, I don't know if everyone had a chance to look that over, if anyone wants anything different, or is everyone okay with the responsibilities attached to your name. Sarah has many. Is that good?
There.
I
assume it's Dana here. I'm
Yeah.
just checking to make sure. I don't think I saw my name on. I assume that's because my daughter is a senior this year, so.
That's right.
Yes,
Yep.
correct.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss something, but, so. Thanks, Sarah, for taking that on.
Hey, anything for you, Dana. Oh, wow, yeah, okay, good.
Is that all right?
You
Is that
betcha.
good? Everybody's good with it? Okay. All right, and scheduling those times, Beth will reach out.
The high school office will do that.
Reach out. Okay, perfect. Thank you. School board election is coming up. The school board members up for election are Dana and Matt. For 3-year terms, and has anyone submitted anything yet?
Just the two incumbents.
2 incumbents, perfect. So no one else needs to know about that then, so we have Dana and Matt. Tuesday, January 6, 2025 at 5 o'clock is the deadline for potential candidates to file a declaration of candidacy and registration statements in order to qualify for the spring election ballot. Links to the candidacy paperwork are listed on the school board election information page, and paper copies are available at the district office, 100 Black Hawk Drive, Viroqua, Wisconsin, 54665. WASB resolutions, I don't know if everyone's had a chance to read through them. The administration team has looked through them. They didn't see any conflict. I don't see any conflict. But I'm sure someone will. So Sarah, enjoy that. When you go to the school board convention, hopefully it won't be too many battles. What?
Maybe an action item at the next board meeting.
We usually do it before the convention.
Yeah, so maybe the next one.
Yes.
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 That we can.
And if you have any questions, Sarah, about any of the resolutions, speak to myself or Jeremy.
Sure.
But it's not law. It's just recommendations. Just remember that when listening to people. And 26th WSB convention is January 21st through 23rd in Milwaukee. I'm attending. Dana, Matt, Sarah, and Jeremy are all planning on attending, and everyone else said that they were not going to attend this year. And with that, motion to adjourn. Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And thank you for attending virtually. Thank you all for coming tonight, and happy holidays, happy New Year. Hopefully 2026 will be filled with only good things, good health, family, friends, adventure, and lots of laughs. That's what I wish for 2026.